So the first thing to know about bike fit is a bike fit is not an event, it's a journey. So plenty of things can impact it. It could be you've lost weight, you've gained weight, you've started a new sport, you are riding a lot more or a lot less, or you've got a new bike, got new shoes. Anything that changes is a risk of impacting your position, and also what you're doing as a cyclist. What is your goal? If you suddenly change your goal, so you go from just riding on a Saturday with your mate or with a club, and you say, now I want to do the TCR, so the Transcontinental Race, for example, you're going to be training really hard and you're going to be putting a lot of effort into getting ready for that event. That means as you train, you're going to get fitter, you're going to get stronger, you're going to start putting more power through the pedal for longer, and that will definitely impact your position. In that case, I would recommend having like follow-ups, regular follow-ups during the whole training, and consider that as part of the training, and that could be the difference between making it or not. So consider it as a program part of your training plan. The way I do bike fit is I fit the bike to the person. It's not about fitting the person to the bike. It's completely different way of doing bike fits. Modify the bike to fit the body, because we know how your body is right now at the time of the bike fit, and we are not planning the position for hypothetical positions that you might get in 2, 3, 4, 6 months time. That doesn't work in my opinion, and that's also why I don't give exercises to do. So I've seen bike fitters saying, oh, this is the position you should be riding, but your glutes are too tight or your hamstrings are too tight, and you need to do those stretches or go to the gym and do some strength exercise and body weight or weightlifting, anything like that, so that you can then match the position. But will you be able to get that flexibility? Will you have the strength to hold the position? It's just hypothetical, and in that way we know it works because your body is ready to ride that position, and you just go out and enjoy the miles. So a common issue that we see during bike fits is it often happens that the bike is too big. It's historically probably linked to the historic way of sizing a bike, like we mentioned on another video, where that was the length of the seat tube that was the reference for the sizing. And basically somebody would say, jump on the bike, you go on it, can you put your 2 feet on the floor? Yes, okay, it's a good bike, go for it. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that was originally how it was. They kind of kept some effect from that from the 70s. You can see the cycling industry is heavily linked to that 70s, 80s ways of doing bike fits and sizing and all this kind of stuff, which means that most of the time the bikes are too big, and that can create all sorts of issues, handling issues most of the time. So make sure you get the correct size of bike, and also the correct geometry. So it's like we said again on another video, it's not only about the overall size, but the way the bike is set up. So the seat tube angle is important, the head tube angle is important, height of the tube here is really important as well. All those will set your stack and your reach in a different way that would help your position and would make sure you are actually comfortable when you ride. If something doesn't feel quite right on the bike, you're not the problem, the bike is. So don't think you're not flexible enough, you're not good enough to cycle, or any of those points you can make in your head. If something is wrong, it can be fixed by adapting the bike. Again, we get back to the point that we fit the bike to the person. So you're not the problem. If you consider people buying aero bikes because they want to be faster, it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't work. The bike is only 20% of the equation in terms of aerodynamic. The body is actually 80% of what's slowing you down. So getting an extra 2-3% on the bike is not going to make a big difference. We're getting the correct position where you are comfortable, you can output the watts you should be outputting, and your position is the most aero you can be while delivering the power. That's going to be the biggest gain. A lot better than saving 5 watts on a narrow frame, which can then bring even more issues like we discussed on another video, where you have fully integrated cable routing with a one-piece stem and handlebar that's got no flexibility. It's really expensive, it's really hard to change, and you're riding the wrong bike. So consider those points and make sure you're getting the correct setup for your needs. Another important point in bike fit, and is often the most overlooked section in a bike fit, so let us know if you've had experience where it happened or not, but we tend to see that the feet are not looked at correctly, mostly the shoes and the way the shoes fit. I use that Brannock device, and we get a full measurement of your feet, and both the left and the right. We check the length of the foot, we check the arch length, the width, and we also check the height of the arch with that little tool here, which is called a naviculometer. Then we have all the dimensions for your feet. We also look at the shape of your toes as well, and we match that with the shoes. So we had checked that it works with the shoes you're coming in with. So let's say you come in with those shoes, those your feet actually match the shape. For example, we can see those ones are quite pointy, so if you got really square feet, surely gonna have issues on your toes here. So we need to make sure it matches. Often see people sizing up to accommodate for wide feet, for example. It's not the way of doing it, because that means by increasing the size of the shoe, you're bringing the cleat forward, which most of the time they're too far forward already anyway, so you're making it even more of an issue. It's an important point. A lot of issues are solved by having the correct shoes. The second issue with the shoes is what they come with. We're picking just a random one here, but you can see it's got no support, nothing. So when you compare that to what you actually get with the bike fit, that would come, you would live with those, by the way, and you can see that is a proper support. So your arch will be supported, not like a flimsy piece of cardboard. You can't blame them. People would complain if it's too high, but they wouldn't if it's too low. But by not supporting the arch, you're generating a lot of issues. If you get a bike fit and that is not looked, so either the shoes, the insoles, the arch support, it's not a complete bike fit. Remember, the power goes through the pedal, so this is what is used to push down on the pedal. If that is not stable and it's not correctly supported, you're losing a lot of power. A thing I like doing during the bike fit and really helps that relationship between the fitter and the cyclist is going through different trials. So for example, we can have a range of saddles to try. So you can try saddle without cutout, saddle with a big cutout. That's also a short nose saddle. Long nose, you can see, is quite different. You can have different widths as well of saddles, or we can even go to quite funky saddles like SMP. Those saddles are really nice. They work well for a lot of people. You might think they look weird, but I like the design, I like the shape. Yeah, like that's my favorite. You might come in with a saddle that is really uncomfortable and generate a lot of issues, but once the fit is done and the position is correct, the saddle is suddenly comfortable and doesn't need to be changed. So, but if it's still an issue, then we can try saddles. Another thing as well is I use those that stem sizer. So we can change the angle, we can change the length. So I've got room from 60 to 150. So we can try all the stems, and that takes the guesswork out of the equation. So when you come in, we can take you to the extreme. So we do that for the saddle, for the stem, and for the handlebar that come on to a minute, and you can feel it for yourself. And it's the same for the handlebar width. So you can see that is set as 40. Now you've got 42, you got 38, you got 36. So we can easily adjust the width and make you try it. You know that a certain width is the one that feels comfortable. When you're on a fully integrated setup, you might want to get the guesswork out of the equation.
The bike fit first.
Yeah, so like this, if you buy it and say, actually, you should try, you'll be better off with 2 centimeters less on the width, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.